Welcome to the Brave Enough Show, everyone. Gosh, I don't know about you, but I just have this really strong feeling that medicine should be more than suffering in through it and being a doctor or working in medicine in whatever you do and quitting, you know? Yet I talk to so many women every day who tell me I don't have a choice. It's either work like this or quit medicine. And I don't have other skills because I've given 15 years of my life to medicine or 20 years of my life to medicine. And this is not just women in the early career. This is women I talk to at every stage, early, mid, late career. I know there is another way because I live it. And I get really discouraged and sad when I see so many institutions and leaders not creating these paths for their physicians, which is why I created the Brave Enough Conference. It's why I believe in it. It's why I do it. It's why I work all year, myself and my team, to pull this together. Because when women come to the Brave Enough Conference, they leave well. They leave rested. They leave with strategies. They leave with options. I cannot describe the number of testimonies I get after the conference, the emails, the DMs, the texts. I love it. I'll hear even 6 months. I just heard 1 week ago, a woman came up to me at a different conference and said, I don't think you understand the impact that Brave Enough has had on me and the conference has had on me. I was able to negotiate for what I needed in my job. I was really really ready to quit. And I came to the Brave Enough Conference and I learned so much that allowed me to pivot and adjust and negotiate. And now I'm thriving. These are just little bits of what happens there. I want you to be there. If you've never come to the Brave Enough Conference, make this your year. We are going to be meeting in Scottsdale, September 25th through 28th at an amazing resort. I give you the afternoons off because I want you to relax and recharge. I don't want this to come to this conference and be one of those CME conferences that you go home totally exhausted. So go to braveenoughconference.com and sign up. And if you're like, man, I really want to do that. I've always wanted to do it. I just never can do it. Do it. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's never going to be easy to take a weekend for yourself. There's always other things you could do. You have to make the choice. It's all about choice. So get to this year's conference. Okay, I'm going to be drinking my hot tea here. I'm going to take a little sip. Sorry if you guys hear me on the podcast, but my voice has been not normal for, sorry about that. You can edit that out, Lancer. My voice has not been normal for about 4 months. I got some viral crap right around New Year's and I just I cannot get back to full strength. And I almost just have kind of put this podcast on hold for a couple months, but there's so many important things that are happening in my life right now that I want to share with you and things that I feel like are happening around me. And I just I just know that I'm supposed to keep speaking up and I'm supposed to keep speaking out. And so I'm here, but if you hear me take a drink every now and then, I'm doing the hot lemon tea and it does help me, but my voice is weak. I probably should see ENT. Okay. Today, we're going to be talking about how knowing your fear, your core fear, actually can make you unstoppable. Okay. It may seem counterintuitive, but when I understood my Enneagram number and I understood that I'm an Enneagram 8 and I learned what that meant and I learned that I actually have a core fear. And when I read what an Enneagram 8's core fear is, I started crying because I've never felt so seen. I have never felt more seen or heard as when I learned what the core motivations are and the core values and the core fears of an Enneagram 8, which is what I am. And I know that we've talked about the Enneagram. And if you're like, what is this Enneagram? I don't know. I was tuning into this podcast for the first time. I have no idea what she's talking about. Go back and listen to, I believe it's season 13 for me. It might be season 7. I don't remember which season, but I have a whole season on the Enneagram and I have this season, 16, just dive deep, learn about it. So go back and listen to the beginning. But basically, for me, learning my core fear changed the way I saw myself. It changed the way I judged myself. It changed the way I critiqued myself. I've always been a person who loves community. I love people. I tend to see the glass half full. I tend to be a person who loves community and community building and building relationships. I just had dinner last night with my girlfriends, and I came home from our girls' night dinner. We do it at least try once a quarter. And Lance said, "You were gone for 4 hours at a dinner. What did you even talk about?" and, and the truth is, like, we all had to work today. So I'm recording this on a Friday. I'm actually on vacation, but the rest of them all had to work today. And they're all surgeons and anesthesiologists. And that's why we quit. We could have been there we had an agenda. Y'all have an agenda when you have girls' nights? Because we do. And it takes us about 3 months, and we're adding to that agenda. And then when we finally get to the girls' night, it's like, dear Lord, how are we going to get through all this? We could have been there forever. I love community. I love building community. I love building relationships with others. I value that. And yet, in my professional life, I would say more than in any other realm of my life, I have experienced conflict in my professional life, my whole professional life. There are people that I don't align with, and there are people that I know I rub the wrong way, and there are people that rub me the wrong way. So it's not like I've had this illustrious 20-year career where I get along with everybody. I've never had interpersonal conflict. I'm not like a rabble rouser. I don't go into rooms and like flip tables. That actually causes me stress. I don't like conflict, and which is odd as an Enneagram 8. But what I learned is I'm a social Enneagram 8, which is an archetype of an 8. And that made total sense to me because social 8s love people to get along, and they love gathering people, and they love to have fun. That is me. But for years, I would think to myself, what is wrong with me? Why doesn't this person like me? They seem to like my other colleague, but that person it's very clear the vibes they're giving me, they are not a Sasha fan. And sometimes that would create stress in my life to the point where I would try to make that person like me. There are also people in my workplace at times, different times in eras of my work life, that I have found, and I don't know if this makes sense to anyone listening, where I'm like, wow, that person really triggers me. I'm sitting in a meeting and I can have anybody talk, but when that person starts talking, I want to just get up and leave. Like, I'm shutting down. I have to force myself to listen to that person. I have to force myself to give grace to that person. And I go, what? Again, I've always asked myself, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get along with everybody? Why can't I like every single person I work with? Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is huge, okay? Just listen, I'm going somewhere with this. You are not going to like everyone, and everyone is not going to like you. Do you know why? Because certain people are going to trigger your core fear. Most likely, the person in your work life or the person in your personal life or your family that you don't like either triggers or represents your core fear. When I learned that, it was like mind-blowing because it did two things. Number one, it made me realize nothing's wrong with me. This is how I was created. And I was created with this core fear that has developed in my childhood, specific to my Enneagram type and my personality type and how I see the world. It affects how I see people. It affects how I see threats. It affects how I see danger. And certain people or places or words said to me are going to trigger that core fear, whether the person means to or not. And it's going to put me on the defense, whether I want to be on the defense or not, whether it's totally benign and what the person's saying is benign, whether the person themselves is benign. And I went, aha, okay, there's two things I got to do with this information. Number one, I cannot believe every thought I have. because they're not all true. I can't believe everything I think. The second is I have to learn to trust in myself and work through and have a secondary kind of algorithm for whether this threat or this fear is real or whether I've misinterpreted others. And the third thing that it's really given me is grace for the person and grace for myself. Because there's two ways this can go, okay? As an 8, for example, I'm going to use my core fear. And all of you, I went through your core fears in the different triads, okay? If someone is triggering your core fear, your initial gut reaction is to either fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. That's everyone's stress response, okay? So what we can do with that is we can go, whoa, I just totally froze. That's interesting. This person asked me a question and I froze. I froze because they triggered my core fear. Maybe your core fear is that you will be, if you're a 3, that you will fail. Maybe your core, so that person's making you or bringing up something that triggers failure in you. If you're a Enneagram 1, it's that you do something wrong, that you're found to be wrong and unethical. So maybe that person is questioning you in a way that you think they're questioning your ethics or morals or rightness, okay? Or a decision you made. If you're an Enneagram 8 like me, that person's coming at you and threatening your independence and autonomy. Whoa. Now, their question may be totally benign, and maybe they're not trying to do that. They don't know they're triggering you. Sometimes, however, people do know, and they know us well enough to use it to weaponize it against us. So in that way, knowing your core fear can be your superpower. It can help you be unstoppable. It has helped me through so much conflict. I would say I probably get along better with people in my job now than I ever have before. I'm a better boss. I'm a better teammate. I'm a better work colleague. I'm better in I'm not perfect at all. Still make mistakes, still get triggered by things, or I'll get snappy or snarky or shut down or pull back from situations out of fear because that core fear is being triggered. But I do that probably 10% of how I used to do that. Right? So we're not striving for perfection here. You're human. Welcome to the human race. You're going to continue to make mistakes. But when I learned that, it was like mind blowing. And now I can pause. So when I feel under attack, when I feel a sense of fear, I go, is this fear real? I sit with it for a moment. Is this person really coming at me? Sometimes they are. And I go, that's interesting. Take note. Avoid that person. Or that's interesting. You have to work with this person. They just directly kind of threatened you. Take note and remember and believe them. They just showed you who they are. On the other hand, most of the time I go, that person just asked me a question that really triggered me to get defensive and angry. Why is that? Oh, I know why. Because I'm afraid that their next question is going to be one that undermines my independence or autonomy. And then I get to go, let's see what happens. And 9 times out of 10, their next question is just a benign, curious question, or they explain to me. I'll say, tell me more. Okay, I love those 3 words, tell me more. I'll say, tell me more. Explain, or can you explain more? Or can you explain what you mean by that? And that is not for them. That's for me. That's for me going, Sasha, take a pause. You're getting triggered. And then if they explain themselves and I realize, oh, I just totally got triggered for no reason. This person is safe and they make me feel psychologically safe. They're not trying to take away my independence or autonomy, right? Or on the other hand, this person's being very passive aggressive with me purposely to try to undermine me. Take note. It is a superpower when you realize what your core fear is, and it can actually make you feel very much in control, very much in control. I was recently asked for something and I was told in a roundabout way that my ask was a reflection of maybe it was me, it was not appropriate for there were digs. The answer was yes, but it came with several digs. And I got so triggered and I was so angry, so angry. And then I realized, okay, take note, because this is really rubbing you the wrong way because it is triggering your core fear. This person likes to have control and they're not going to have control of you. And they're angry about it and they're projecting. And you just need to relinquish it. Take note, remember, yep, got it, and then move on. I didn't even engage. Before I would have engaged, I would have fought back, I would have argued, I would have got passive aggressive, I would have said aggressive comments to the passive aggressive comments. I would have, I didn't, because I was like, I paused. It wasn't pretty for the first couple hours. I was mad. I didn't respond in anger, though. I know myself that never is positive. So the second thing that I wanted to just note is when you know what your core fear is, and you have one, every Enneagram type has one, it can be protective. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times, especially as an entrepreneur, people will say, you should work with this person. And I say, I don't know. Something doesn't feel right there. And maybe I'll talk to the person and I just get a feeling of distrust and they trigger me. And I go, that will probably be good for my bottom line, but not good for Sasha. And I walk away. I have learned how to trust myself in business so much that way. And people will still come to me and they'll still say, why don't you work with that person? You should work with that person. You seem to be aligned with that person. And I just know I can never work with that person. They trigger my core fear. Maybe they're wonderful. Maybe they're lovely. I've never gotten a vibe of trust. And trust for me is like, I have to trust a person that I'm going to share any business with. And I go, nope. And I shut down. And it has served me well. So knowing your core fear can also be very protective. Very, very protective. I have always been that way with my friends when they've been picking partners. And I have to say, I'm probably 100 for 100. I don't think I've ever been wrong about one of my friends' potential partners. I've never been like, that guy's awesome. Yes. And then they turn out to be terrible. Now, everybody can misjudge people, but I have a spidey sense about people that are distrustful. I can spot someone normally a mile away that is not trustworthy. And there's just something in me that is my gut instinct that tells me no. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, I don't love that person for you. I'm talking like big red flags. And when I see that, I'm the girlfriend that will say, I can't lie. I'm not loving this person for you. And you know what? I'm almost always right about it. It comes out later somehow. I'm a lot like my grandma D this way. My grandma D used to judge people, and we would actually all gossip about her judging other people. We would be like, dear Lord, Grandma, you cannot judge this person. She was right. We all laugh 10, 20, 30 years go down the road, and she ends up being right about everybody. Bless her heart. I'm kind of like my grandma that way, in that I hope I don't not judging people at the level she did. However, I can really tell when someone is not trustworthy, and I just have this gut feeling to stay away from them. And I've learned in business to follow and trust my core fear. At the same time, sometimes our core fears can hold us back. I don't really love doing things that I have to follow someone else's lead unless I trust that person. So for example, when I go on vacation with my girlfriends, I love when I go on vacation and someone else has planned the whole trip. I don't want to plan the whole trip. I don't want to do any of that. I love it. I love it when my husband's like, we're going to do this. And he's just got the plan. And I just literally get in the car and go with whatever his plan is, because I 90% of the time am the person who is plowing the path for others and figuring it out for others and figuring out where we're going to go to do this or that. So when it's people I trust, I will completely give over my autonomy. But I have a hard time when it's not someone in my inner circle, and that has served me well. So whatever your core fear is, on one hand, question the trigger, but trust it. Trust your head, trust your heart, trust your gut, whatever triad you're in. The third thing is knowing your core fear can feed your superpower, okay? Because you can know what will work for you and won't work for you. You know, am I going to want to ever have a boss that micromanages everything I do or assesses every single thing I do? No, that won't work for me. But if I was an Enneagram 6, I may love that. I may want to take every single thing to my boss and get approval or disapproval in the beginning of our relationship until trust is formed. Opposite for me if I'm an 8. If I'm an 8, I'm like, I don't want somebody breathing down my neck and asking me for deliverables on a daily basis. I would want to shoot myself. No, thank you. So it really allows you to feed your superpower when you know what your core fear is. So again, looking at your personality, looking at your strengths, and not being such a harsh critic about them, but going, oh, this is who I am. And I happen to have this core fear. So I need to be aware when I'm around people or places and that core fear is triggered, that I'm going to make either a good or a bad decision based on it. And I either have to listen to myself when I'm feeling that way for a purpose, or I have to question myself and ask more questions if I'm not sure. Okay. Every person, whether they know it or not, makes decisions daily based on their core fear. Sometimes our actions are protective, sometimes they're destructive. But it's up to us to choose a path of growth. We can choose a path of growth every day. And I love this. I love that, there's been times where I have misjudged someone. You know what you can do? Apologize. Be honest. There are people every year that come to my conference and come up to me and say, when I first saw you on social media, I did not really get it. And I came to your conference and I get it. And I judged you and I feel bad, but now I get you. I love when people say that to me. I'm like, I don't judge you. You were just totally honest with me. I've done that to other people. I've gone to people and said, we had this meeting and you were this way in the meeting and I really judged you. You came at me strong and I did not like that. And I kind of put you in this box of people that I don't want to do life with. But wow, I was wrong. I'm sorry about that. Apologize. Just apologize. When someone triggers your core fear and it's unwarranted, apologize. We can do it. We are all human. If we're not apologizing to people at least once a month, we are probably narcissists. Who wants to be that? Find it in your heart, evaluate yourself, get self-aware. That's why I love all this work, this self-awareness work, is because it leads us to be more socially intelligent and emotionally intelligent and give more grace to ourselves and others. Okay, listen, if you like this kind of thing, if you love my podcast, first of all, please rate and review it on iTunes. It really, really does help. I just recently was told that I have the fourth most popular or most beloved podcast amongst women physicians, which is huge. I never set out to do that. And I made the top 10 for all working women podcasts, which is huge. So share this podcast, but also it really helps get noticed on iTunes when and for people to find me. It increases the searchability. So please give me a rate or review. It takes 5 seconds. Lastly, if you're looking for more of this content, if you love my my podcast and where you've come to any of my webinars or you've attended any of my events, you will know that I'm a woman who loves to support other women. And this is my whole passion. This is what I do. So I have a offline private group called The Table, and it is on an app on your phone, and it's a private community that you can join. It's my private community. We have a monthly webinar for CME. We have daily videos. You can message me. You can message in the other people. You can post. You can read other people's posts. It's encouraging. You get strategies. You get encouragement. I pick a topic that we go over every month. If it's interesting to you, check it out. Go to becomebraveenough.com, click on community, and join and sign up for The Table. It's free for 2 weeks before you can have to join. It's a very low monthly fee. Join and get there. So go to The Table, and I want to see you in The Table. I would love to talk to you. Have an amazing day.